Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me, Shelly's Millions, on the live, which is normally Monday at 9 p.m., but today we're doing it Tuesday at 9 p.m. Jenny Silver also told me that there is like a delay with her book, or she's working on changing something, and I had pinned that as a top comment. Sorry, I was like apparently watching reels, and I never know how to get out of these things. Okay, so what did she say to me about her book? She said it's down for the day because there's a change. So if you followed that link wanting to buy her book and you weren't able to, um, the link may be not working today. I don't know. There was a problem, which sucks. I have to talk to her more about like what the problem is with her book because I think it's so awesome that she wrote a book. Hi, Mary. Oh, I haven't seen you in a long time. The Reyes family, same with you guys. Any good updates? Your wife just applied. Any news on new applicants? Not unless you had some work history since first filing your original claim. Hi, Nana. Welcome to the channel. Let me know what I can help you with. Congo Bent Lady. Bent 80? Hello. Michael, hi. Have me and Jenny gotten? No, we haven't. So Jenny did finally give me an estimate on kind of like helping me set up my website and further like work on my brand. And it's very reasonable. And she even gave me like a friend rate, a professional friend rate, but like a friend rate. So I have to try and make all those pieces work. So yeah, so I just have to figure out how to make that work and then get back to her and then set it up. Hi Joseph, hi Jermaine, hi Marco. Will a 1099 work for proof of work? It should. That is one of the documents that was listed as acceptable. Hi Edward, and hi everyone. Hi Michelle. Okay, yeah, let's talk about that really quick. They are starting to send out letters that confirm that the documents that you have sent in to the EDD for proof of PUA, proof of work are being accepted, but it's a really vague, like one sentence kind of thing. Let me read you the important line on that. I need to make a video about it. I have not had time like usual. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the one line says, it says additional instructions, which makes it look confusing. And then it just says number one, the documents you submitted to substantiate that you were or plan to be employed or self-employed prior to the start of your pandemic unemployment assistance PUA claim meet legal requirements and no further action is required at that time. So that's all it says. They meet the requirements and no further action is required at this time. So it's just a really simple, like one word example. It's going to look like this. So yeah, those have started to go out again. And I saw the same thing. Jenny Silver made a video on this, I think yesterday, letting people know that she's starting to see it confirmed as well. It doesn't seem to be a lot of people. It's not like the majority of people. I don't know. I know one of the questions you guys had for me is, has it been approved? Has anybody gotten that letter who only sent in an affidavit? And I have now, I've definitely reached out to my contact and he's not getting back to me. So I don't know if he's out of the office this week or what, but there does seem to be like a delayed response. Okay, let's see. What else do we have going on? Michelle says, I started working again. I called to get partial due to reduced hours. How long will it take to certify? I do have a claim balance from previous EDD. Okay, so you would also need to be within your benefit year. So even if you had a balance on your unemployment claim, if your benefit year ended, this would put you in a whole new benefit year. And then depending on when your hours are reduced, the EDD normally looks at something called the base period. And if you applied right now, hold on, I got to take off my glasses for this. Then you guys, we're going to talk about how my glasses get stuck in my hair in a second. So the base period is going to be, hold on one second, I want to look it up. So if you just now reported that your hours were reduced, so it's December. Oops, I'm trying to get this picture to load. Hang on. I'm trying to get the picture so I can flip it for you guys while I explain about it. And there is an alternate base period, but I'm worried that it's going to think that maybe these are all the same. Okay, hold on. It's not, I'm pushing and none of these are getting bigger. All right, I'm just going to have to read it for you. What is going on? All right. Well, anyway, so if you just now reported that your hours had been reduced, it's December right now, they would be looking at July of 2020 through June of 2021. So they may, depending on how many hours you've had, and it gets a little tricky with reduced hours as well, because it's not going to be too hard to have that excessive earnings warning on your unemployment claim. But to answer your original question, which is how long does it take? The answer is at least 3 weeks, really. You normally find out in fewer than 21 days if the claim is approved or not. Then you're still going to need to do ID verification and get your first payment. You can certify once they tell you that your claim has been approved, but it may take a while before you actually start to receive payment. Okay. Little Moon says hello. Jermaine says, happy holidays, asking for a friend. He was getting the minimum from EDD and has been trying to get an adjustment for months. He sent in his Schedule C. How long until they adjust? Thank you. The EDD is so far behind on everything. So I'm not sure how long something like that would take, but I do hope that they award it to him and get him his adjustment. Juice. Any news on California Golden State stimulus too? There's a lot of news actually. This needs a video too. Okay. I'm so glad you asked that. No news specifically. The checks are still going out through January 11th, and that's when their mailing date is. And then even in really small print at the bottom, it says that that's the mailing date and to allow up to 3 weeks after the mailing date to see if you get your check. So really now that's almost the end of January. I think I said June. I mean January. I'm so sorry. You guys know I came straight from work today. So at the end of January is when the payments should be complete on that. But here is the news. And I haven't seen a video from Jenny about this yet, which is unusual. It's possible that they would do another Golden State stimulus or something similar next year in 2022, a brand new one. I just read a news article about that today on my break, because that money wasn't specific to the pandemic. That money was actually able to be given to us because there was a surplus in California's state budget. They are anticipating that there's going to be a surplus in California's state budget again next year, or for this year, 2021. So then they could issue it in 2022. But they're not sure if that's how they're going to use the money. Some people think that the only reason why Gavin Newsom authorized the funds to be a stimulus payment in the first place is because he was trying to win the recall election. So there's a possibility that there would be another Golden State stimulus or something similar for people who live in the state of California. Again, this isn't a federal program. This would be specific to California. The funds, if they want to use them for that, could potentially be there, but they have not said if that's how they're going to use them or not. And they have 2 years. If I read it correctly, guys, I skimmed this on my lunch break, so I'll have to look at the details a little bit more later. But this is the year that they're expecting to have the surplus in funds. they have up to 2 years to determine how they're going to use those funds. So we may not even find out in 2022 if that's what they're going to use them on. But I thought that was really interesting. Reyes family. Oh, so yeah, so new applications take around 21 days, sometimes a little bit longer to complete the ID verification process and everything. Let's see here. Family Dollar, my car is starting to show signs of transmission issues, or at least I think it is. If that's the case, I'm going to have to get a new car entirely. What a huge headache. So I went to that Tony Robbins seminar and we talked the other day about getting a new car. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Hopefully you're able to find a safe replacement car if you do need to replace it, one that's affordable. Try and shop around rates. Try and go, if you are going to finance the car, try and go into the dealership with financing already in place, but don't tell them that you already have financing in place until you've negotiated a little bit, to make sure that they come down to their lowest price. So check at a credit union to see if they'll pre-approve you for a auto loan, and then have that ready with you when you go to the dealer. Good luck. And even though it's stressful, hopefully you will enjoy your next vehicle. And maybe it won't be your transmission. Maybe it'll be something really minor. That's what I'm wishing for you. Okay. Let's see here. Virginia says, my money for you, I finished, and my new claim started January 31st. Can I get an early extension? No, unfortunately, there's no unemployment extensions right now. So the soonest that you would be able to file a new claim would be at the end of January. If it's January 31st, it's usually about 3 days before your claim expires. Where are we? So yeah, about January 29th, that is the true expiration date on the claim, because it's not quite to the day. It's like the Saturday before the Monday when you applied. So, and you can try and file a new claim up to 2 weeks before your benefit year ends. But keep in mind that unless you have done some work, unless you've returned to the workforce and have some attachment to a W-2 employer, you wouldn't qualify for a new claim. Congo. I feel like I am not saying your name wrong. Congo Bentity. You've sent in your job offer letter, which you never started. Do you think EDD will require more documentation? It's really hard to see. Yeah, it's really hard. Oops, where am I? Sorry, I lost my place. It's hard to say, not hard to see. It's hard to say. They listed a job offer letter as something that they would accept. So, and again, my contact did, when he was responding, did tell me that they weren't going to try and like make this difficult for people, that they were really going to try and work with people with whatever documents that they had. So that should be okay, but they'll let you know if they need further documentation. And yes, Debbie, I did see that. She just blew out an approval letter. Blurred out? I don't know what blew out means. I don't think that's what it's supposed to say. But yes, I'm also seeing reports that people are getting those approval letters, and I probably already read the little statement that it says. But yeah, those are going out. It's not very many people that are getting them, but some people are getting them. Okay. Julia says, do we know what kind of affidavit sent and is being accepted, planned to work prior to the pandemic? I don't know exactly what people have sent in that is leading them to find out that what they sent was accepted. That is an interesting piece of information. I'm not sure if they're doing it by the type of information that you sent in first, or if they're doing it just in the order that they received the proof. I have a really good video on an example of an affidavit. So I do recommend watching that video. It walks you through the 6 easy steps to fill out an affidavit in order to try and get paid. But again, that's just an example. I couldn't even tell you with certainty that the EDD would accept that example, but I used what Google said to do on an affidavit. I give you an exact example, and it should be really easy to fill out. So in the YouTube search bar, just type in like Shelly's Millions affidavit, and it'll literally, you can just pause the video as you fill out each step of filling out an affidavit as it applies to your situation. Osvaldo, I applied for EDD in 2021, and they want proof of income from 1/20/20 to 1/20/21, but I only have pay stubs from 2019. What else can I provide? Osvaldo, yours is the one that's really tricky because I think you are on unemployment before the pandemic. Is that correct? If so, I would send them an affidavit that says, hey, I was put on PUA unemployment because there were no other extensions available to me, because that was also a way you could get PUA, is if you had kind of finished your unemployment, the pandemic was still going on, so you weren't able to return to work. And so I would just make a statement that says that. Prince Ali, Uber drivers should have gotten that $600 state stimulus. Their pay is low and they didn't get it because of too many tax deductions. They didn't qualify. Kind of sad. I think that would only be true. I'm not sure if that has to do with being an Uber driver. I think that could do with a couple of things. If unemployment was your only source of income, then you wouldn't qualify. Also, you did need to have between 0 and $75,000 to qualify. So if somebody claimed that they earned negative money, then I suppose that would be possible that they didn't get it. But yeah, they probably should have qualified unless somehow they made more than $75,000, or unless when they were driving for Uber was like before. I have to be careful. I have to think about the year before 2020. Because if unemployment was your only source of income, then you would not be expecting the Golden State Stimulus 2 payment. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Uh, Kango Bintity. I'm just tell your son that I'm butchering it. He'll probably think it's funny, and I'm so sorry. Okay, Jillian says Uber drivers were denied Golden State stimulus because their taxable income was not there. Their income was like in the negatives on taxes. That's so messed up. Yeah, so it needed to be between 0 and 75. So if you reported negative net income, that that would be unfortunately the case, unless you had some other source of income that earned income. But yeah, if your income was negative, that does sound correct. Joel, there's all of you saying that. You guys all didn't earn any money you guys were all negative from driving for Uber. Let me look into that a little bit more. I do know it said between 0 and 75,000. So I guess if you had negative net income and didn't earn any other income, remember unemployment benefits aren't earned income, then I guess that's possible. That sucks if that's the case. I guess I hadn't really considered, like, even last year with you, I drove Uber for a little while and I didn't have a lot of profit, but I did have some profit from Uber. And then even last year, I made some money from YouTube, but then I bought like this laptop so I could stream. And I had like a $464 profit from YouTube in 2020. It's going to be a little higher in 2021. But yeah, so sometimes you have to, it's hard because I don't think we knew about the Golden State stimulus then. And it's a balance. Do I report income? Because you don't have to report all the deductions. Jenny Silver actually talks about this a lot, and it's kind of really good advice. If you're self-employed and you take every single deduction available to you, it can make things difficult, like getting an auto loan or getting approved for an apartment or financing a house, if that's where you're at in your life, potentially getting like the best rate on a credit card. Because if you're showing net negative income, like if we're friends even, right? They say never loan money to a friend unless you can afford to lose it, right? And that is probably the best piece of financial advice I will ever give anyone. I think that's true. If you get it back, great, but if you don't ruin a friendship over it. So if you are my friend and you asked me for $1,000 and you said, well, I'll pay you back out of my business. And I say, well, you told me your business lost money last year. I would only lend you that $1,000 if I could afford to lose it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's the offset when you don't claim any profit. Now, you don't have to take the deductions, right? And so sometimes, if you are going to be shopping for a loan or purchasing a house or something like that, then you want to take as many deductions as possible. Or sorry, you might not want to take as many deductions as possible because you might want to show a higher income in order to qualify for those things. And yeah, I'm sure if people knew, like, oh, if I report $1 in income, that wouldn't have been very much taxes, right? It probably actually, I don't know, I'm not a tax professional, but it probably would have been very low. I'm sorry that that's happening, you guys. Scotty says, hello. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in one of these in a while. Ben, will there be another $10,200 tax write-off for unemployment taxes? Your thoughts? Is it possible? I have not heard a peep about that. Anything is possible, right? There have been times before when I've said, no, that's definitely not going to happen. They're not going to do it. I don't think this, I don't think that. I haven't heard anything, and we're getting mighty close to the end of the year. Even at this point last year, we were starting to see, actually all throughout the year, I think really early in like May or June of 2020, they had already started talking about tax forgiveness, right? Somebody had proposed a bill, much like the bill that AOC proposed to get like an extension on unemployment benefits. And then just you didn't hear anything about it. And then at the end of the year in 2020, they rolled it into the stimulus package. But this year, they're not even really calling it a stimulus package. I haven't kept up as much as I should on that, but there have been no headlines about it, nothing. So I wouldn't expect to see that happen. Okay. Which might mean our taxes will be higher this year, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, Marin says, what happens when they say you reach maximum benefits and account is at zero? Unfortunately, you have to wait until your benefit year ends. So for some people, that could be December. There was someone in the chat earlier where for them, their benefit year is going to end at the end of January. And unfortunately, you won't be able to file a new claim until your benefit year is over. And even then, you would only qualify for a new claim if you had enough wages, enough attachment to the workforce. You would have to go back to work for a W-2 employer and earn enough wages and then lose the job through no fault of your own in order to qualify for a back-to-back claim. I don't love giving anybody that news, but unfortunately, I'd rather be upfront with you so that you know what to expect. Okay. Sprite says I got a Prius C and I love it. It's so good on gas. I served as an inspiration for that choice. Thank you. You are very welcome. And guys, my car has, and somebody was like, oh, it's not that old. Mine's not that old. It's a 2013. It's still running good. Some people are like, you have to replace the hybrid battery. I don't. I keep it in EV mode and don't worry about like trying to get the gauges, like whatever. Don't look at the dashboard at all. Just keep it on something like the clock where it's not going to be distracting. I spent too much time looking at that thing and I don't think it made any difference. Just drive normal. I do keep it in, it's not the low EV mode, but like there's a button like by the stick shift that I push that's supposed to like save on gas even more. I do keep that one pushed. The only time I've ever taken that off is going over the hill to get to Vegas. And then I want a little more power. But like passing people on the freeway, no problem. Accelerating, getting on an on-ramp, no problem. And I've never had to replace the hybrid battery. I've never had to replace anything major on the car. when you need all 4 tires, that is it's like a crime, right, on new cars. I remember we could get 4 new tires for $99, and that's not like a thing anymore, apparently. Um, when you need all 4 new tires at once, that'll be a doozy. And I wanna say, at least when I bought mine, Toyota covered, like, the first 2 years of repairs and maintenance, oil changes, everything. They did it. Another money saving tip, not as good as don't lend your friends money that you can't afford to lose. Buy like the package of oil changes or whatever. It's gonna make it more affordable in the long run to pay for it up front, and then, like, you're guaranteed to give them your business when you go back again. So, when you do have to start paying for routine maintenance, whatever you can buy, like, a package on, do that. I think you guys know I had a Mitsubishi Mirage. It had 300,000 miles on it. I bought something called, like, lifetime alignment. There's speed bumps at my mom's house. I paid, I don't know, it was probably, like, 400 bucks for lifetime alignment, but do you think that car repair place thought that they were going to be still aligning my car for free at 300,000 miles? They probably didn't, and that saved me a lot of money, if your car's not aligned, uneven wear and tear on tires. Anyway, okay, enough about cars, back to your unemployment questions. But I'm glad that you like it, and, that's the car I drove Uber in, and I had people tell me that they're like, "Oh, this is the Prius C." You guys, that's the smaller, cheaper version of the Prius, and they were like, "Oh, it feels pretty spacious back here." So, I don't know, I don't ride in the back seat of my own car much, but, when I drove for Uber, they liked it. Anyway, I'm glad you like the car. Okay, I lost my place. You guys know that means to like the video. I'm scrolling back up. Okay. Omarin. What happens when they say, "Yeah, we got to yours, Omarin"? It's not the answer you wanted to hear, I'm sure. Hi, Daniel. You got your Golden State stimulus. Thank you for your help. You are very welcome. I'm so glad to see that you got that. Okay, Linda, I hope that in 2022 there's another tax write-up just like what we had for 2020's taxes. That would be so useful and helpful. It would, but I haven't seen that. Hi, Wahiba. I am very good. Thank you for asking. Virginia, you're welcome. Linda says, I think everyone should have received the Golden State stimulus, not just the $1 to 75,000 income. Give it to more people. Yeah, especially people who had negative net income, right? Like, that's like you lost money. And this happens, right? Sometimes it's not just like, oh, I was writing off everything I could, right? I think one of you asked me, this is a work sweater, not a work shirt. Somebody was like, "Can you write off your clothes on YouTube?" And I probably, maybe you can. The IRS is usually pretty strict about clothing write-offs. But I think I told you guys, I bought like Meet Kevin's YouTube course, and he's a guy, right? And he even said, "Oh, I buy powder so that I'm not shiny on screen." So, could I try and write off makeup if I said, "Oh, well, I bought a course on YouTube and the YouTube course said to wear powder on the videos so that you're not shiny?" Maybe. I didn't try and write that off, but but sometimes this has happened to some of you. You guys were legitimately going to start businesses and you went out and bought supplies for that business. You hadn't actually opened the business yet. You had a goal and a dream. You went out, bought supplies, and then all of a sudden, because everything had to close, you weren't able to get your business off the ground. And you put up that initial investment and you guys actually lost money doing that. So sometimes you're trying to write off every little thing like makeup or shirts, or really, it's supposed to be exclusive for business use. And am I really going to buy powder and I'm never going to like powder my nose on the way in on a date? I don't have dates, so no, but P.S. Kenneth, Jenny and I have watched your videos now. Anyway, it's not always like, oh, I'm trying to write off every little thing to have a net loss. Like sometimes you're just trying to make something work and you do put in a big investment up front and you wind up with a negative net loss, and it's not even like you're trying to write off powder. I think, and I don't think I'm going to try and write this off, but someone asked me about the video about this guy, right? I think he's adorable. and I made a YouTube video with him. I think I've made a couple of TikToks with him. So could I say that this $14.99 was a business expense? Probably, because I actually only use them like when I'm on YouTube or doing TikTok. Like I leave them in the blue room, which is exclusively for business. But again, I'm just probably not going to do that. And then maybe if I get a tax hit somewhere else, I'd be like, oh, I forgot to write him off and see if the IRS would go for it. But that's not the case with everybody. So anyway, sorry about the rambling, but my point in my rambling is that I completely agree. I think that if somebody had a net loss on their business, if you put forward $1,000 and you weren't able to work at all, and so you had a loss that year of $1,000, yeah, you're exactly who needs like an extra 600. Even that wouldn't put you back at even to the cost of supplies that you put into your business. So that does suck. Yeah, I totally agree. And unfortunately, more bad news. I have not heard about any talks of forgiving that first $10,200 in unemployment benefits for it'll actually be the 2021 taxes that we file in 2022. I haven't heard anything about that. And even if you check the box to have your taxes withheld on that EDD form, they weren't withholding the taxes from the $300 boost. I think there's a lot of people that are kind of in my situation where they got unemployment benefits at the beginning of 2020 and have since gone back to work. That generally, not always, but that generally also bumps you into a higher tax bracket. EDD only takes out 10%. So for a lot of us, not everyone, but once you've gone back to work, you're going to owe 12%, 18%, 22%. So yeah, without that forgiveness, it's going to really hit a lot of people in their pocketbooks, and that is unfortunate. Oh, I didn't realize how many more questions there were, so I'm sorry I got behind. Oh, interesting. Okay. Sorry, I was reading ahead to Debbie's comment, and then I realized I'm live and I wasn't speaking, and that's probably boring. Anyway, okay. Aaliyah says, I got PUA from 12/6 of 2020 to 9/4 of 2021. In 2019, I took care of one child and they paid in cash. I received Social Security. I don't need to file taxes if both income is less than 25,000. What do I need for proof? Okay, well there's a couple things, right? And I know you got paid in cash. So I know that this is unlikely, but technically, I'm not saying that this is what people do, but technically this is what you're supposed to do. And so I have to encourage you to do that. If you make more than $400 from self-employment, you are supposed to report it. I think even if you receive Social Security, self-employment is different. So if you got more than $400 from taking care of one child, then technically you're supposed to report that. So, but that's tricky. But all I would say, I wouldn't get into all of that. If you can have the person write you a letter that you were taking care of their child and then they no longer wanted you to because they felt uncomfortable exposing the child to the illness, or you could ask them to whatever reason they were maybe they were taking care of their own child because they were working from home or they had lost their job or something like that. Whatever the reason was, if the person whose child you were taking care of can write the letter on your behalf, that's going to be better. You could supply things like bank statements that showed, okay, they gave me $25 on this day. They Venmo'd me on this day for childcare during the dates that they're asking for. So possibly like Venmo records, screenshots of Venmo records if they ever paid you Venmo or Zelle or Cash App or PayPal. There's a lot of ways to send money these days instead of physical cash. If they only give you physical cash and they are unwilling to write that letter for you, the example in the video, if you search Shelly's Millions affidavit, I'm never good at this. I gotta get the link to that so that I can drop it in chat quickly. Shelly's Millions affidavit. You're basically going to write the letter yourself if the person you used to do the childcare for won't write it for you. And it's not asking for amounts. It's not asking how much did you make, because it's not looking for proof of income. It's looking for, did you work before the pandemic? Did you have an offer to start work before the pandemic? Because that's the criteria to be eligible for PUA, not how much money you made. So what I would probably do in your situation, right, is if the person who you were caring for their child won't write the letter for you, then you're going to have to write it yourself. And I would just say something to the effect of, well, follow the affidavit because there's 6 steps. So you want to follow those 6 steps. But I would say, I, Shelly's Millions, a female, 44 years old, living in Los Angeles, California. I swear that this is the truth to the best of my knowledge. In 2019, I did childcare. You don't even have to say that you were paid in cash. I cared for someone's child. And they didn't want to leave their child with someone who was not a member of their household when the pandemic started. They were not willing to write the letter for me. So really, like, the steps of the affidavit, but in that statement, you don't need to say a lot, because the more you say, right, the more it might trip the EDD up, the more it might cause them to think, is that truthful? Right? And I want everybody to be truthful, but I also want you to get through the process easy, right? I don't want to say anything that like can incriminate me. So please, please tell the truth for whatever your situation is. But if that's the case and the person you worked for won't give you the letter, all you really need to say, follow the steps of the affidavit. There's 6 of them, so watch that video. But in the actual sentence where you're telling them what happened, I cared for a child in 2019. The family no longer needed me to care for them because they were able to homeschool. And so they were no longer employing me because they were home. I would say due to the pandemic, because they were home to care for their own child due to the pandemic. And I was unable to find other employment. That's all I would say. And I would mention that you tried to get them to write the letter, but they weren't willing to, or you don't have their contact information, or whatever the truth there is. So the other thing you could say is, I could say, this isn't true, but if it was, I would say this. I used to care for Jenny Silver's children while she was at weddings. This is a totally made up story. I cared for Jenny Silver's children before the pandemic when she would go shoot wedding photography. This is probably too many details, but you guys know her. I cared for Jenny Silver's children before the pandemic, but after the pandemic, she was able to stay at home with them. All the weddings got canceled. She no longer needed my services, and I lost my job due to the pandemic. That's it. That's it. It can be really easy. If you guys like that advice, please give the video a like. The less you tell them, honestly, just keep it simple, keep it to the facts. The only thing that I really, really do recommend, don't just submit it handwritten, because maybe what do I have on there? I need to find my passport, and write a resume. Anyway, and tidy up my house. This is like my actual to-do list. Don't send your documents to the EDD. Don't send your business plan to the EDD on a piece of scratch paper. Maybe you have bad handwriting. My mom, I think, was sending legal documents. I've shared this before, and she was handwriting it. And her handwriting is, people tell her she should be a doctor because doctors are rumored to have bad handwriting, right? So use the notes app on your phone, right? And type it that way and upload it that way. I feel like, sorry guys, sometimes I do feel like I ramble when I get home from work. I'm a little bit more tired. Anyway, okay, I hope that answered your question. Okay. So Marlene says, what if you had an offer to start a job, but due to childcare, you could not start the job? Would EDD accept no childcare as the reason I could not start work? Yes, but it would be more helpful if you had like a letter from the childcare saying, hey, we're closed, or hey, we're not accepting new children, or something like that, something along those lines to help substantiate that. That would work. Okay, now, Debbie, I'm getting to yours that I was reading in my head a minute ago. What about denial letters? Anyone got such? Jenny's feedback on a letter was begotten from a tax return submitted and approved. Okay, so maybe that's partially because of the document that that person submitted that got it back soon. Oh, Crazy Cat Lady says her cat says hello. I do not know of anybody where they've gotten, and I don't think it's going to go straight to a denial letter. I think from what I understand is that they will first ask for more documentation, or probably the dreaded phone determination / eligibility letter. I think that's the next step, is that they would ask some clarifying questions, unless you're just like, I didn't work at all, I had no intention of working, I just got this money because I thought I was eligible, right? If you're flippant and say something like that, then maybe they would be like, denied, pay us our money back. But as long as you have like something that makes sense, I think worst case scenario for the first step would be that they would ask you more clarifying questions, right? So in the example of Marlene above, who didn't start work due to lack of childcare, maybe she just sends out the affidavit that says that, and that's actually the example that I used in my video. I used lack of childcare. So maybe she submits that, and maybe the EDD is like, well, we have some follow-up questions. And then they might say, well, can you supply something from the childcare that said that they were closed, or that they weren't taking on new children, something like that. So that, I don't think, like, if for example, if Marlene just says, I didn't start work because of lack of childcare, I don't think they would just say denied and just end it and then hit you with an overpayment notice. That is not the impression that I'm under. Okay. Omarin, should I ask for an appeal for not getting my 300 help with my UI payment? They paid it at 213 for those months that we received this year. Omarin, what I would do in your situation is email your assembly member. They have been so good at helping. I can find the link to that really quick. I will drop that in the chat. Let them do the legwork on that. That's going to be the easiest thing on that. All right, I just dropped the link in the chat on how to find your rep. Okay. Family Dollar. My friend is rideshare, and what it is that they take so many taxes out, so many deductions. It's kind of crazy. That's how they end up in the negatives. Yeah, I didn't make a lot of money when I did Uber, and it was more stressful, I think, than it was worth. Like, people would like allow 5 minutes to get to the airport and then like yell at you that you weren't driving fast enough. People literally asked me to drive in the emergency lane. And I was like, no, I'm not going to get a ticket. I'm not going to drive illegally for you. Like, no. But I'm not good at saying no. So I just stopped driving for Uber instead. William, I got disqualified. I'll have to send in more documents, as it seems. They told me my documents aren't specific enough, and it's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. So that's interesting. So, William, that's the first time I'm hearing that. So, and I was starting to read this, that some people were getting that their payment status was changing to disqualified. Let me ask you this as well, William. I'm just curious, because this will help me in my research if you're still on. You asked that at 9:22. It's 9:44. Is it only the payments that you received in 2021 that switched to disqualified, or was it also 2020? Please let me know that. So I think rather than getting a denial letter, people are seeing their payments that were previously paid be moved to disqualification. But even then, they're saying that they need more documents. So hopefully they won't hit you with an overpayment notice until you've been given the chance to supply additional documents. I'm so sorry, William, that happened. Karen, After the first year, I hope the IRS will give us a break. Me too, but I haven't heard anything in the news about that. I am on the lookout for that. You guys know I was starting to get my taxes ready the other day. I'm going to owe a small fortune this year. YouTube made a little more than $464 this year. And writing off this guy is not going to save me very much. George, my videos helped you a lot during the pandemic. Thank you. You're finally employed again, doing a job you like. This makes my heart so happy, and thank you for sharing that. Ben, you saved 10% of everything you made on EDD, so I should be okay. Crossing fingers. I'm crossing them for you. Ben, how's your body doing? Are you used to working now? Remember how I was like, oh my God, it's rough when you first go back, but you've been back a little while. So how are you doing with that? Debbie, tell us more in your denial letter. What documents did you submit that were not good enough? I am dying to know that myself. So take as many, don't repeat the same thing in chat, but maybe leave a comment after this video. That way you can get the whole story out, because yeah, a lot of us would love to know what went on with that. Michelle, what do I do if I don't have proof of a job? I'm in the year that they were asking. So again, that's going to be the affidavit. And I have a video about this, right? Back to the car topic, you're right. If you have like a luxury car, 4 tires will cost you $1,000, Toyota 600. Nonetheless, tires are expensive. Guys, even though I'm getting close to reaching $1 million in net worth, if all 4 of my tires go and it costs me $600, I don't have it. I do not have it. I'm investing money, but I would have to pull money like out of my Robinhood account. I would have to cash something out and either take a loss on the stock or get hit with a tax penalty for cashing out stock. Maybe I should save more money. I guess I do have savings, but that's for taxes that I'm going to owe a lot on. It's a good problem to have, not needing 4 new tires. Like, that's what I want. That's what I want for all of my viewers as well, and my mom. I just want us to be at a place where like $600 for 4 new tires wouldn't stress us out, and even $1,000 is even worse. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Edward says, quick question. Can we all have Christmas chat? Just hang out and chat with me and everyone. Let me see. So I did Thanksgiving chat. Check my calendar. Probably maybe early Christmas. Christmas is on a Saturday. Guess who works on Saturdays? I will definitely be at the theater on Christmas Day on Saturday. Guys, you know I've shared slow days to go to the movies. Christmas is not a slow day at the movies. Christmas is packed. I think people don't want to hang, like they don't want to talk with their families anymore on Christmas. And they're like, where can we go where we're with our family, but we're not actually conversing with them? And they all go to the movies. Love to have you whenever you want to go to the movies. But if you're looking for a less crowded day, Christmas is not it. So I'll be at work. So we'll see. I don't want anyone to ever feel alone on the holidays. But I'll definitely be at work, and it'll probably be a long day. So we will see. Okay. Shoot, where am I in these questions? Okay. Lost my place. That's a good time to ask you guys to like the video. Vanjie, you bought your Christmas tree today, but because you have so many ornaments, you cannot even see the green part of the tree. That's awesome. I'm not going to tell stories. I'm going to try and burn through your questions, but I love it. It sounds like a beautiful tree to me. Asked my accountant. I did my taxes myself with TurboTax. And I was too nervous to put some stuff. Yeah, the green stuff, he's definitely a business expense. I bring him out on almost all the lives now. Vanjie, so wait till the taxes we pay in a few months be higher because of the fact that 2020 had the 10K write-off. Maybe should have saved more than 10%. Ouch. It's all going to depend. Taxes are so different based on all of the different individual factors. I have to look something else out. I think that Donald Trump signed something into place where if you didn't have health insurance, that you didn't have to pay like a fee for not having health insurance. I think that now they're back to wanting to have like you pay like a fine if you don't have health insurance. So I got to look into that for you guys as well. And again, I'm not a tax professional. I like to know these things myself, though. I'm curious. All this stuff is like really interesting to me. Hi, Sugar Sprinkles. Hi, Beauty Exo Cosmetics. Thank you for joining. Did you have a question? Let me look for yours since you're a new member. I really appreciate you signing on as a member. And hello, Sugar Sprinkles. Guys, I'm scrolling down. I am skipping a few of the questions. I'll work my way back up maybe. William. Oh, is Jenny Silver in here? She is. My week's been hectic. And now I was just talking about how my day's going to be hectic on Christmas. Okay. Jenny, what's going on with your book? I know you're not going to tell me in the chat, but Jenny Silver's book, she had to take down the link today that I still have pinned up there because I don't know and I really want to know. Anyway, William says, I just spoke to Uber. They've sent me an official verification of my self-employment contracting and I'll send that in. Hi, Joseph. I'm liking my phone, but it was just freezing when I was trying to push a picture on it to show you guys. Okay. I did use TurboTax and I paid for like the I paid for the extra in case I get audited. They'll help me sort that out. Let Out says EDD put me on PUA for a few weeks and then put me back on PEUC. Now they want proof of self-employment, but I was on regular UI. What should I do? So they don't necessarily want proof of self-employment. They just want proof of work. And since you weren't self-employed, you can just literally, you have your choice of things you can send them. The best would just be your tax return from the period they're asking for. Something else would be pay stubs from the period that they're asking for. And lastly, and this is the weakest example, because you probably have access to one of those two other things, but you could also send them a signed affidavit that says, hey, you guys put me on PUA. I was never self-employed. You guys switched me to that program temporarily. I would try and send something else though, like a pay stub or your tax refund. It doesn't need to be self-employment, just basically like whatever you used when you first filed your claim should be fine. Although I know you don't really upload anything, but like whatever document you got the number off of, use that and just send that to them. That should be fine. The reps did that to try and help people, but it really messed a lot of people up. D-Fresh. So I have an action required. You may need to reapply for benefits. Should I reapply? You can try and reapply, right? I'm never going to tell somebody not to try and reapply, but unless you've had attachment to the workforce since your original claim, you won't be approved for a new claim. It also mentions something about an extension in there, and there's not really any extensions available. Those all expired. So you can try and file a new claim. Sometimes as soon as you hit the file a new claim button, the EDD kind of already knows that you don't have enough wages to qualify for a new claim. And then if you think you do have enough wages to qualify for a new claim, and again, this would need to be work done since you filed your original claim, and most of us didn't work. Like some of us are back now, but at the time when our benefit year ended, like that was the whole point of being concerned about receiving more benefits, is that we hadn't done any work. We hadn't gone back to work. So if you haven't done any work since you filed your original claim, they're not going to approve you for the new claim. But if you have done work, then it's possible that you would qualify. So you can definitely, I would encourage it in that case. Rodney, I'm self-employed and I have been for years. Do you recommend submitting my full return, including my Schedule C, or just parts of my 2019 return? And do I need to submit 2020 as well? So each person's letter was a little bit different. So if it asked you, for example, from June of 2019 to May of 2020, I would submit the 2019 tax return, because that would have probably been filed in that first time period during 2020, right? Your 2019 taxes. That's what I would submit. A lot of people, including Jenny Silver, went ahead and sent her whole tax return. And this, I'm not like making up a story. I watched her video and that's what she said she did. She said that she's just going to let them sort through it and give them the whole thing. A lot of people just went ahead and did that. That way they were like, well, if the EDD has any additional questions, they have it all right there in front of them. However, the Schedule C should be enough. So yeah, I would just do the It's up to you. A lot of people, including Jenny Silver, sent their whole tax refund return. Not everyone got a refund, but a tax return. That way you know for sure you're covered. However, they've said that the Schedule C should be enough. Brian, I have filed self-employment taxes since 2004, so I think it speaks for itself. I will send them the tax info. Yes, that's perfect. Ben, I'm strong like bull. Body is totally used to working. You're doing splendid. I'm mostly, well, my leg is, I don't know what's wrong with me. I need to still lose some weight, but yeah, I'm mostly used to being on my feet all day again. Oh, Jenny, were you in here when I asked? I am seeing reports of only the 2021 payments switching to disqualified, but not the 2020. Do you have any insight onto that? She'll figure it out. She'll make a video and we'll all know. But that's my preliminary findings, is that they're saying that the 2021 payments are switching to disqualified, but not the 2020. I have a whole theory about that. Because I want to say that according to the Department of Labor, they might not even be able to hit you with an overpayment from the start of your claim, but only after December 27th of 2020, which is basically all of 2021. But I have to find that information again. I need to look at that. Okay, sugar sprinkles. I'll give more clarity, but it's something to that effect, and you're absolutely welcome. Oops. What did I miss here? Because I lost my place and I'm working my way back up. Okay. Defresh, I sent them 10 invoices, but I still haven't received anything. That sucks. Oh, let me try and find this. Can you get unemployment again if your current job fires you, even if you were on unemployment all of 2020 and 2021? So again, it's part of that's gonna have to do with your base period, because even like right now, this was the picture that I was trying to show people, Joseph, and it would not load. So right now it's December. The base period that they're gonna initially look at, it's still not loading, is January. Wait, what? That doesn't sound right. July of 2020 through June of 2021. That's the base period that they're originally going to look at. Then there's an alternate base period. The alternate base period, I think, just sets it off a little bit. So that should go through September of 2021 if they use the alternate base period. But it's also going to depend on how much you earned in wages. It needs to be $1,300 in your highest earnings quarter during the base period or the alternate base period. And then you're supposed to have lost your job through no fault of your own in order to qualify for unemployment benefits. A lot of employers never fight your unemployment claim, but it's possible if you were let go. Fired usually means, in California, most employers fire with cause. Most employers don't fire just for the fun of it or just because they didn't like you. If they did, they're really terrible. And you should report them to the Department of Labor. But anyway, your employer could fight it if they say they had cause or reason to let you go. But again, it never hurts to apply, because even if your employer fights it, it's something really high, like 92% of the cases, the EDD will side with you and not your employer. Okay. Shouldn't you include your address in the affidavit to reinforce the fact that you lived in California? Yes, I believe that that's one of the steps. It is. Or at least your city and zip code, right? But the EDD should have that. That is one of the steps of the affidavit. What about people who just got on PUA because it was so easy to get on that in early 2020? I think it literally was too, like kind of easy, kind of crazy. That's like fraud. Well, yeah, and that's kind of the whole point with why they're asking, right? But they're really accepting a wide variety of things as proof that you were truly going to work or proof that you had a job offer. It was very easy to get approved. And they did that because they didn't want to make people wait to give their money. Like, people are like, the EDD should have already done this. Yes, but let's look back. Let's say, Ben, you got PUA, right? Or at least your friends did. Let's say that your friends called the EDD, which would be a miracle in and of itself. And then when they got a hold of the EDD said, "Oh, well, thanks, Ben and Ben's friends. We'll let you know if you qualify for PUA, but we're backed up 6 months and it's going to take it's going to take us 6 months to get your first payment." Like everyone would have nearly had a heart attack, right? So the EDD didn't want to do that. They wanted to expedite getting the funds out to people who needed them. So they rushed it through, didn't check eligibility, and they're retroactively doing it now. They did it to try and, it's almost like glass half full, glass half empty, right? Or like there's a different example that I'm not thinking of correctly, but it's like, do you believe the world is more good or do you believe the world is more evil? The EDD, even though it doesn't seem like it now, they chose to believe that California is more good. So they chose to say, we, a government agency, we believe that the residents of California are honorable and trustworthy and are not trying to cheat the government out of money. They're not trying to collect benefits fraudulently. They're just trying to make ends meet in the middle of the pandemic. Let's trust them and give them this money right away. And so that's what they did. Did they give out fraudulent funds? I'm sure they did. Did that catch on against other people? Yes. Were some people misled even to think that they qualified when they probably didn't? Absolutely. I think I told you guys this. I heard a story in the newspaper where they said a homeless man, like somebody helped him file for PUA and he bought a motorcycle with the money. That's actually what the news story was. But like what if the homeless person would have used that to get rent, you know? What if like we need to also help our homeless during the middle of a pandemic and whatever. We have a lot of the system is flawed, but I think the EDD handled that portion of it how I would have wanted them to. I needed unemployment money to pay my mortgage. I didn't even have the kind of mortgage where I could really take a forbearance. Most of my employees, granted we were W-2 workers, they needed that money and they needed it right away and they wouldn't have been able to wait 6 months. And yes, there was an eviction moratorium and yes, you would have qualified for food stamps, but like the nerves of what about car payment? Like it's just like I'm glad they got the money out. I'm glad that they chose to think that like we're good for the most part. Um I'm sorry about the waste in money. I do care about things like that. They say, "Oh, all this money it doesn't come for free. Like at some point like our grandkids are going to be paying for this debt." And that's true too. Like we have a huge national debt that I don't love that some people took advantage of. But would I rather have made good people wait? And even like your health isn't good, like when you're stressed out about your finances, right? It's just not a good place to be. And I'm glad that the EDD chose to go ahead and release the funds first rather than make people who really qualify wait all of those months before getting paid because they were behind, they were behind. And I don't even know how much of a budget exactly they were given just for hiring. Okay, I'm gonna try and catch up on some of your oops. Uh-oh. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Jenny Silver knows. Make a video. Girl, is that video coming next? Because that's what the people want. I've been seeing that all day. I'm not a moderator on that Facebook group anymore, but this is what people know. Okay, so the law is, and that was because of the Department of Labor, right? Okay, so Jenny Silver is saying that she is seeing the same thing. Well, not only seeing, but has found the legislation that means so people who sent in documents that were not accepted, they are seeing their 2021 payments say that it disqualified. And that is because the requirement affects the weeks after 12/27, so not before. So that should mean that the EDD can't hit you with an overpayment notice for weeks prior to 12/27, only the weeks after 12/27, could they hit you for the overpayment? Someone else asked me about that this morning. Okay, let's see here. Let's read all of Jenny Silver's. Okay. She says it's not a big deal anytime you tweak anything. Metadata, pricing tags. Oops, you have to what? Oh, this is about your book. You change something and now you have to have new proof. So Jenny Silver's book is delayed, even though I've got the link pinned up above. I don't think it's working today. She told me hours ago, she's like, Shelly, the link's not working today. She's sorting that out. It'll be back up soon. Please buy a copy of her book. I bought 3 copies. One I'm going to do as a giveaway. I haven't decided how yet. One I'm going to give to my local library. One is for me because I actually collect children's books. Okay, but now here we get into Jenny Silver explaining why people are seeing the 2020 weeks of their unemployment claims still say paid, but the weeks in 2021 after they submit their proof of work are switching to disqualified, and that's because it affects the weeks after 12/27. That was in the Department of Labor guidance, though, right? Like, finding documents from the Department of Labor is so difficult. The 2021 is being disqualified if the EDD deems them ineligible. But they should have it is in lots of your videos already. I'm not caught up on all your videos, Jenny. And actually, it's so weird. No, Jenny's oh yeah, I did make her a moderator. Well, it's like she's not a moderator. She pops in sometimes, and yeah, I set her settings to moderator like a long time ago. If she moderates anything in the stimulus bill text. Okay. Yeah. And that was the one that passed right before December 27th, or was it in the one after? Was there some? I'm getting my dates confused. I have to go back and look. I haven't stayed as in tune with all of the information since I went back to work so much in the bill text. All right, I got to look at the American Rescue Act. So yes, Jenny Silver is my moderator, but she doesn't do too much moderating unless she wants to. She mainly pops in to say hi and support the channel when she has a chance. And then I do the same on her lives when I have a chance, and her videos when I have a chance. And I'm really, really excited about her book. It looks beautiful. I haven't got my copy yet. Maybe Barnes & Noble is also behind about 6 weeks. They have not notified me if it shipped. I bought my copy on Black Friday. Anyway, so yeah. So then Jenny Silver, I just want to make sure that I have it right. So since it only affects weeks after 12/27, they wouldn't be able to seek overpayment for weeks prior to 12/27. Is that correct? The last I had heard from you on that is that you were awaiting your contact at the EDD, who, by the way, I've messaged and he's kind of like ghosted me. I'm pretty sure our contact's the same. I've sent some questions and they haven't said that. Get to work, everyone. Well, YouTube is work, and a lot of us are back to work, but even though we're back to work, the EDD is asking for more information on old claims. Patty, if they don't accept the documents you send, do I have to pay the money back? Good luck to the IRS with that. Yes. If they determine that you were not supposed to receive the benefits, then you would get an overpayment letter asking you to make arrangements to get that repaid. You can do 2 things. One is if you agree that you owe the money, that's when you would request the overpayment waiver. An overpayment waiver says, I agree that I owe this money, but it's due to no fault of my own that I received the money. I thought I was eligible, or in some cases, the customer service reps, you guys called and said, hey, I'm not sure if I'm eligible. Can you help me file a claim? And the EDD customer service reps helped you, even though you shouldn't have been eligible. That definitely happened. So if that was the case, that would be through no fault of your own. Additionally, correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny Silver, but Daniela Urban was very clever when she helped draft the conditional payment um, documentation. If you received any of the payments that were conditional payments, right, that you were pending, and then they released the payments on a conditional basis, meaning maybe the EDD knew that they needed to go back and ask you some eligibility questions. It's possible that they still need to ask you those eligibility questions and have a phone determination interview. That's a whole different topic. But conditional payments, if you were trying to be honest or you were honest, but the EDD just didn't have time to follow up with you and they sent you conditional payments, if you got conditional payments, those would be no fault of your own. So anyway, overpayment waiver. Yes, I agree that I owe the money, but it was no fault of my own, and it would create a financial hardship for me to repay the money. That's when you would just request the EDD to completely dismiss it and waive the amount that you owe. You could also file an appeal. An appeal means I don't know what you guys did over there at the EDD, but I don't even agree that I owe you the money. So an overpayment waiver would be one thing, and an appeal on the decision that you owe the money would be something else. An appeal says, nope, I don't even agree that I owe you the money. In addition to the overpayment waiver that you would potentially request, you can also arrange a payment plan with the EDD to repay them the money. I don't have the specifics on what they would accept in terms of overpayments, but definitely if they send you an overpayment letter, again, just like asking you to upload the proof of work or proof of employment, you don't want to ignore that, right? You want to take some sort of action, either request the waiver, file the appeal, or arrange a payment plan. And the reason why is the EDD can garnish your wages. They can garnish tax returns. They can really, like, I think they can put liens on property. Like, basically, like, they can make things really difficult for you. So overpayment waiver, a payment plan, or an appeal if they hit you with an overpayment notice. Okay, let's see what Jenny Silver's saying. I think she's talking about that. They can issue overpayment for any part of the claim. Great. This sucks. I didn't know this. I'm learning this. They can issue an overpayment for any part of the claim if the claimant does not qualify in general. However, right now they are verifying 1227 onward due to that recent change. All right. That well, hopefully they don't go back all that way. They're not going to be able to they're going to get themselves in so deep. They're going to have a lot of trouble untangling everything that they've done. And again, I'm glad that they did it that way. I don't know if you were in here for my rant on me being glad that they issued the payment. But I think that they've really created a mess for themselves. Bonzaz, Jenny has a lot of videos with EDD representative over email. Would you guys mind sharing email to message them? I get error in my inbox. So I want to submit ticket online, but I can't find out how. I don't know how Jenny got her contact. I reached out as a media contact. I said, "Hey, I have this YouTube channel, so I'm really the media. I'm like a news outlet. So it's pretty much their media representative that I talk with. I don't know if they're eligible on a one-on-one basis." Patty wants to know, will bank statements work? Bank statements could work if you have your past taxes. Those are always going to be better. But yes, if you don't have taxes that would support either the time period they're looking for or the information they need, yes, bank statements would be acceptable. If you do send bank statements, I wouldn't just say, here's my bank statements. I would send like pretty much an affidavit, typewritten, not handwritten, that explains why you're sending them the bank statements, that tells a little bit what the bank statements are. You want to make it easy for the EDD. Okay, Miss Pretty Lady says, I was babysitting. What proof do I need? If you can get the person that you were babysitting to fill out a letter for you, that would be best. Jenny, I don't think you were in here earlier. I actually used you as an example. Now, this is a fake story. Jenny Silver lives in Northern California and I live in Southern California. But let's say that this is how it went down. You would try and get the person that you were babysitting to write a letter for you. But let's say that I used to babysit Jenny Silver's kids. Again, this is fictional, fictitious. You would, let's say that she won't write me a letter saying that I used to babysit her kids. So I would need to write the affidavit and I would say, I, Shelly's Millions, babysat for Jenny Silver's children prior to the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, she was no longer having her children stay with people outside of the immediate household as recommended by, state officials. And I was no longer employed by Jenny Silver. I asked her for a letter, but she was unwilling to write one for me. I swear that this is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, that kind of thing. I have an actual video on how to write an affidavit. Check that out. But that's what you would say. You would say, I worked during babysitting for this person. And then the reason why you were no longer babysitting, which could be they didn't want the children staying with somebody who wasn't a member of the immediate household, or maybe they just didn't need you to babysit anymore because maybe they lost their job and they were home with their children themselves. Whatever the reason is that you weren't able to babysit anymore, that's what you would tell them. And I wouldn't even get into mentioning amounts because, again, this isn't for proof of income. This is just proof that you were working. So literally, you want to go through the 6 steps of filling out the affidavit, but just the facts. I used to babysit. They won't write me the letter. That's who I was employed by. I lost that employment due to the pandemic. And again, they might ask you for follow-up documents, right? I'm not guaranteeing that even in my steps of the affidavit, especially when it's something like that, that's hard to prove. I can't guarantee that they would accept that. That's what I would do. That's your option. Also, I know a lot of babysitting jobs are in cash, but did they ever pay you by Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, Cash App? You could screenshot those and upload those as documents too with the dates, and hopefully they will say, thanks for watching my kids, something that would indicate that that's part of the business. What else could you send for babysitting? I mean, were there ever emails or text messages that you could screenshot, again, that would have the dates present that indicated that you were babysitting for them? The more that you can, I kind of wouldn't send a lot of unnecessary things, but if it's something where the EDD might look at it and then disqualify you, I would go ahead and try and send up as much backup information at once as you have. But I wouldn't send them necessarily every single text exchange that you had with the person you were babysitting for. I wouldn't send them every single Venmo payment, right? Just send them the affidavit, send them a couple screenshots of the Venmos if you have it, send them a couple text messages that have dates from before the pandemic saying that you were coming over to babysit, something like that, but not every single message. Okay. Bye, Jenny. Have a great evening. F&C says, I applied using 2019 income, which wasn't required to file for taxes because it being less than 400. However, I did file my 2020 taxes. Can I have them use my 2020 income and proof instead? Potentially. And potentially what you could do is you could and again, I don't know if they would accept this, but you can try, right? Send them an affidavit that said, hey, I was just getting my business started in 2019. So I didn't make more than $400. So I didn't file my taxes in 2019. Could you show them any bank statements, any purchases or invoices? I don't know what business you were going to start. Maybe you were going to start a toy selling business. So yes, it's the green guy again. Could you be like, here's the receipts for all the toys I bought and I was planning on reselling them? Do you have any receipts for anything that you purchased in 2019 when you didn't make more than the 400? I was making t-shirts and I made 10 t-shirts and I only made $5 off because my order quantities weren't high enough. Any invoices or anything from the period that they are asking for, but if not, send them an affidavit, keep it simple, keep it truthful. And then in the affidavit, I would just say, but I did start to make money from my business in 2020, even though that's not the period that you asked for. This further solidifies the fact that I was already in the process of beginning my business in 2019 when I didn't make enough money to file my taxes. And I would leave it at that. That's what I would do. Okay. Abolisher finally found a job after getting your vaccine, which you will include in your affidavit. Well, that is awesome. Again, though, I would keep the affidavit simple. As much as you might want to be like, I'm back to work, quit bothering me, EDD. They're not asking for that. They don't need to. I wouldn't. Less is more. Keep it simple. Keep it factual. They are not asking if you're working now in the affidavit. I wouldn't put that. If you want to, you can, but simple, factual, short. Because think about how much they messed up our claims, right? How the reps put us on PUA claims when we shouldn't have been, or how some reps told PUA recipients that gross income was okay when really it was net income. There's just so many ways that the EDD mess things up. Don't throw anything confusing at them that could make them mess this up. So keep it simple, keep it to what they asked for. Don't lend your friends money. And what was my other advice? I don't remember. I had other advice tonight. Patty, could I use letters that I was contracted for weddings and a Rolling Stones tour? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Someone else asked me that again. Email. Yeah, I would send that. I would absolutely send that. So it sounds like maybe like you're an entertainer. Yeah, if you were going to go on tour and it got canceled or the shows were canceled, those emails along with a statement of what those emails were, right? I wouldn't just send them random emails saying, oh, that show's canceled. I was going to go to a show that got canceled. I had tickets to Billie Eilish, and I didn't buy tickets for her new tour. Whatever, I should have kept those tickets. I wanted to see Billie Eilish. Now I'm not going. Now it's all sold out. Anyway, boo-hoo, I'm safe from the pandemic. So that's what I'm happy about. So yeah, just kind of say, hey, I was a performer. I had these gigs booked. So I hadn't received payment, or I had just started. This was going to be my first year where I made more than $400 or whatever the truth is. So yeah, I would send them that. I would say, here, I'm an entertainer. The entire tour got canceled. Here are the emails that substantiate. Oh, that's so fascinating. That's really cool, first of all. Second of all, Patty, what they do prefer, if you have it, is the tax refund. So if you have the tax refund that says that, that would be best. But if you don't, yes, send like an affidavit that says I was a hairstylist. I think that's so awesome. I was a hairstylist. I was going to go on tour. The entire tour got canceled. Here are the emails that back that up. Try and make sure that the dates are visible in the emails, but let them know why you're sending them those emails. But again, a short statement about why. But yeah, emails, that to me would substantiate it. Again, I don't work for the EDD, so I can't guarantee that they would accept that, but that is what I would do. I would send an affidavit. And again, you guys, please research the video, Shelly's Millions affidavit. And I walk you through the steps. So you can do step 1 and pause the video. Step 2, pause the video. It's not a long video, guys. I know I ramble sometimes, but that one, I get to the point. I didn't want to waste anybody's time on that. But you can watch it, pause it, fill it out. for what's true to your statement, and then also include the emails with the dates just as backup evidence, because we are starting to see now people get disqualified on their 2021 payments if the EDD thinks that they haven't submitted enough information. So keep it short and factual, but try and give them enough that they're not going to disqualify you. And I would think that would be okay. An affidavit plus emails confirming that the whole tour would be canceled seems like enough evidence to me. But again, I don't work for the EDD, so I can't guarantee this. And even when the EDD puts their own information in writing, sometimes it doesn't go how they say. So all I can do is give you my best advice, but it is just my advice and my opinion. I hope. Anyway. Oh, so Debbie, I still plan on going live Sunday morning at 11 a.m. and Mondays at 9 p.m. Everybody voted today to do it at 9 p.m. on Tuesday because I lost my train of thought. That means it's almost time to end the video. So I put up a vote on like a community post, and people said that Tuesday at 9 p.m. worked best for them. So here we are. I worked last night at the theater till midnight, and I don't normally work that late on Mondays. So yeah. Okay, you guys, I'm going to do Annie's question, and then I'm going to hop out for the evening because it wound up being an hour and a half. Annie says, would it help to say we are working now if our PUA claim was based on the promise to start employment? Would it solidify our intent of employment? Not necessarily. It's up to you. I tend to think that I'm a little bit back and forth on that. I would maybe, if you because I see that you said that you're a hairstylist now and you were going to go on tour as a hairstylist for a band or a ballet company or something like that. I do need my roots done, girl. Actually, another of my viewers, oh my God, this is awful. Another one of my viewers actually helps me with my hair, and she's real local, but maybe I'll try somebody else. I do need, anyway. So, maybe Patty. So you could say, hey, I was going to start my business in 2019. I didn't. I finally had everything put in place. I had my certifications, and I was going to go on tour, and I was going to be the dedicated hairstylist, and we had these dates lined up. And then the pandemic hit, and, we were stay-at-home orders. So the whole tour was canceled, and I was unable to begin my career as a hairstylist. Since the restrictions have lifted, I have now I've reopened my hairstyling business, and I'm working again. Here are some emails that verify that I had a tour lined up. You'll know how to word it. I had a tour lined up that got canceled due to the pandemic, and here's another pay stub, or here's, like, I don't know if you're renting a studio chair, or here's a letter from Shelly's Millions when I touched up her roots, something like that. Oh, 35 years. Well, that's awesome. If you have tax statements, those are always the best to send in. If you don't, though, an affidavit, the letter, and yeah, I suppose it wouldn't hurt. All right. Good night, Debbie. See you at 11 a.m. Redondo Beach. I'm not. Oh, I used to go to Bikram yoga in Redondo Beach. I'm not far. I live close to everything. I feel like Redondo Beach is beautiful. Okay, let me make sure that abolishers that I got to abolishers question. You were unable to work due to the pandemic. You just need to write it before February. The sooner the better. Don't dilly-dally on that either. That way, if they do need follow-up documentation, you have plenty of time to get it to them. It's not proof of vaccination. I don't think that's what you meant to say. It's verification that you had employment or intent to become employed before you received your benefits. All right, guys. Yeah, I keep it simple. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, it seems like a good time to end this. I do generally go live Sunday mornings at 11 a.m., Monday nights at 9. But my work schedule is a little wonky through the new year. Like a lot of other managers are traveling. So Sunday morning at 11 a.m. for sure, and we may have to do this weird off schedule unemployment Q&A on other nights, but I'll always kind of put up a poll. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching Shelly's Millions. I hope this answered your questions. I will see you next time.